A tiny room in Almaty, Kazakhstan, packed wall to wall with desperate people. They all have one thing in common.
So can you ask how many of these people have relatives that are being held by China and unable to leave for at least 6 months? How about for a year? So that's everybody.
This woman says she has not seen her daughter in a year and a half. This 8-year-old says she wants to tell her parents she misses them. Everyone here has family members they say are being held in detention camps, not in Kazakhstan, but in a country that sits on its eastern border, China. Kazakhs, who are mostly Muslim, have traveled back and forth across that border for decades. Some even live in China and are Chinese citizens. So that's why so many Kazakhs have been caught up in what critics say is China's ongoing crackdown on Islam. Over the past few years, in the western Chinese region of Xinjiang, the U.S. government says up to 2 million people, nearly all Muslim, have been placed in detention camps. CNN got a rare look at some of these camps on a recent trip to Xinjiang. Inside, detainees have said torture and political indoctrination is routine. Critics say the camps are part of Beijing's attempt to eliminate Islam in China. But to speak to those who've been inside, you have to leave Xinjiang, and Almaty, Kazakhstan is the best place to go. Just 200 miles from the Chinese border, Almaty is home to many ex-detainees, like Kairat Samadhan.
Now I hate China so much.
Samadhan is a Kazakhstan citizen but grew up in Xinjiang. On a trip to China in 2017, he says he was detained and put in a camp where he was often forced to stand for 12 hours at a time, hands and feet shackled, chanting, "Long live Xi Jinping," for China's president. He says he even tried to commit suicide. After 4 months, he was let out and allowed to return to Almaty. China's Foreign Affairs Ministry told us they are unaware of his case. Samadhan says his own government in Kazakhstan wants him quiet.
The state isn't helping us. It's trying to silence us because we are sowing discord between both countries. I'm living in fear.
The Chinese government denies allegations of political indoctrination and torture. They call the camps, quote, vocational training centers, designed not to eliminate Islam, but Islamic extremism. But we found a former camp employee who says that is a lie.
It's not true at all, because I saw it with my own eyes.
Sadagul Saltbay says she taught the Chinese language to camp detainees in 2017, forced to work there by Chinese authorities. She eventually fled and has since accused the Chinese government of torturing camp detainees, something China denies. She's now applying for political asylum in Kazakhstan, but as a Chinese citizen, she fears she could be deported.
One day, someone knocked on the door, and that person told my son that China is going to get your mother back soon. You'll be orphans.
And yet Kazakhstan's government, in charge of a predominantly Muslim country, has not publicly condemned Beijing, nor called for the camps to close. And some say that's because of money.
So China actually built a lot of this highway that we're driving on right now. It's part of the billions and billions of dollars they've invested in Kazakhstan through their Belt and Road Initiative.
China is one of Kazakhstan's largest trading partners, and critics say Kazakhstan's government can't afford to criticize Beijing. We asked the Kazakhstan government if China had bought its silence on the issue of detention camps. They didn't reply. But no matter the answer, people like these, back at the tiny charity in Almaty, have no confidence that the Kazakh government will convince China to release their relatives from the camps. So they turn to others.
So it's kind of heartbreaking because what these people just said is that they think that we, CNN, can get their relatives out of the camps, as if it's that simple.
And now even the small charity that helps them has become a target. Just hours after we shot this video, Sedikjan Bilash, the group's founder, was arrested by Kazakh police and charged with inciting ethnic hatred. He remains in prison. The tape on the newly locked office door says, quote, closed by order of police. Matt Rivers, CNN, Almaty, Kazakhstan.